Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. Hello Brother Nash, can you please post my story as anonymous? I am a South African woman who is married. I am aged 34 years old. I have my own story that I want to confess to you. So at the time when I was in matric, I then went to this other school. This school, it is there in Venda. I still remember that school. It is called Mbilu High School. That is where we went and we attended our winter school. We were staying in an area, I think it is called Makwarera or so. I come from TZANEEN. So from the place where I come from, a lot of students, whenever it was time for them to write their matrics, before they would sit for their matric exams, they would go to Venda to attend for the winter school. So when it came time for me to write my exams, me and my friends, we then planned that we were supposed to go there for the winter school, even though I knew that my parents would never afford to send me for the winter school. But I kept on giving my parents pressure because my friends, they were also giving me a lot of pressure. They said that I had to go with them. So after my parents had seen that all of my friends, they will be going to the winter school, that was when my father went and borrowed some money. He didn't borrow this money from the bank, but he went and he borrowed the money from the loan sharks. It was only after my father had passed away, that was when I realized that my father, the reason why he had struggled so much to pay all of the loans that he had, it was because of the higher interest rate. I went to university. When I went to university, Brother Nashi, I demanded that my parents take me to the best university that is here in our country. It was costing my parents a lot, but all that I wanted was to be close to my friends because we were at the same university. And when I look back in the past, I can see that I was nothing but an ungrateful child. When my father passed away, the man that he was working for, he gave my mom some money so that we can use that money. Then his life insurance policy was about to pay out, but the money that my mom was given by my father's boss, the huge portion of that money went straight to the loan sharks. And at the time, after my mom had rested a little bit, that was when she started running around, signing some forms and filling up the applications so that the life insurance policy can pay out. Each and every time when she would go out, those loan sharks, they would make sure that they were always hanging around so that by the time that my mom was going to get the money, they were going to take the money. And when the policy paid out, Brother Nashi, most of it went to those same loan sharks. It was only after that I then started to understand everything that I had made my parents to go through, because all that they wanted was for me to get a good education. So from primary school, my parents made sure that I would only attend A schools. Even when I was in high school, I only attended A school as well as university. But all of this, it costed my parents a lot. So at that time, Brother Nanshi, when it was time for us to go to winter school, when we were there in Venda during our winter school, these friends of mine, yes, they were quite intelligent, but to be frank, there were girls that didn't enjoy school at all. For them, going to school, it was just a matter of going to school and the benefits that comes with them going to school. When we were there from the very first day, we had already hooked up with some girls that were from the local area, and these girls that we hooked up with, they were party girls. What we used to do is that we would hire a taxi, and after we would have hired a taxi, then we would go around just grooving and grooving, doing nothing else, and we would have a good time We used to go to different places just drinking alcohol, and there was no time for us to attend school. It was like we were on vacation during our winter school. That was when I met this other man, and I didn't want to date that man that I ended up dating, but because of peer pressure, when that man approached us at the place where we were sitting whilst we were just drinking alcohol, one of my friends then told that man that I was in love with him because I had been watching him for a very long time. So I felt so shy, but I didn't want to date this man because he was old enough to be my grandfather. But because of peer pressure, I just accepted him, and then we started enjoying whatever that he was doing for us. This man, he had a lot of money, and he would attend to all of our needs. This man, whenever we would go out, he was always there. Then there was that other time when this man then finally said that he wanted to sleep with me. I tried refusing, but he then said, no, you can't refuse because I have spent a lot of money on you already. So I ended up giving in, even though I had tried avoiding this man after I had seen that he was trying to sleep with me. So this man, Brother Nashe, it was only after he had slept with me in his car, that was when he took me to his place. So when we went to his place, the house, it was on top of a hill, just in an isolated place, but it was a very beautiful house. And when we had arrived at his house, I saw that in another garage there was a lot of oranges and tomatoes and other stuff that was just lying around, and he had two other people that were working for him. Those guys that were working for him, they were from Zim. This man, what he used to do is that he would go around buying things in bulk like tomatoes and oranges, then he would resell them. So those guys that I saw in his garage, they were busy repackaging all of those fruit and veggies. My brother, this man, what he used to do is that after sleeping with me, then he would go out sometimes for days, and he would just leave me with those guys that were like strangers to me. So I always felt very uncomfortable. I kept on thinking what would happen if these guys would think something bad, like if one of them wanted to rape me or what. So what I'll end up doing is that I would just go and sit outside. After the guys would have knocked off, that was when I'll stay alone in the house. But whenever I'll be alone, especially at night, the whole house was really scary, because from the very first day that I had walked into that man's house, my heart had started beating very fast, and I felt really scared. Even though I didn't know what was making me to be so nervous, I felt as if there was someone who was constantly watching me, like each and every move that I would take, that person or something would always be watching me. But when I will be outside just sitting by the lawn, that nervousness, I would feel it leaving my body. Whenever this guy would go out, when he would leave me alone, I'll just run out of the house, because there was a day when I was cleaning around, I just felt that there was something that kept on moving in the house, and when I would go outside and sit, then the nervousness would leave my body. This man, I didn't want to tell him all of those things that I was experiencing, because I didn't want him to think that I was crazy or something. And there was another day when we had gone out just to drink. Then there was a guy who had approached me. This guy that approached me, he said that he was in love with me. After he had found out that I was dating that guy, he said, yeah, women can do anything for money. So later on, I searched for him after he had said that women can do anything for money. I asked him what he meant by that. He then told me that this old man, in his past life, he was one of those thugs that were doing cash in transit heist, and he did a lot of stuff that he ended up getting arrested. When I heard that this guy, he used to be an armed robber, I was now really scared of him, and I was even afraid of breaking up with him. So I just told myself that I was just going to pretend to love him until the winter school was over. So this guy, whenever I would feel something moving around the house, I never told him. There were many nights when I'll just wake up, and after I had woken up, I would feel like there would be someone that will be standing in that room that me and that man used to sleep in, but I'll be afraid to wake him up. There were some nights when he would just strip me naked, and after stripping me naked, he would get on top of me. And instead of him sleeping with me, he would then sleep with me orally, and at the same time, whilst you'll be fingering me, you'll be playing with his manhood. And when he was about to produce, then he would rush out of the bedroom and he would go and finish in the bathroom. I never followed him because I was afraid of him. Then there was a day, Brother Nashi, when I had a very strange dream. I saw that there was a woman, like when someone is died, they usually make them to wear white clothes. That woman, she was wearing a white long dress. Then she seemed to be one who was dead, but she was walking. So that woman then pushed the door open, and on that night, I had changed the way that I was sleeping, because in that bedroom, that was where the TV was, and the way that this TV was set, when you will be sleeping in bed, you could not watch it properly. So this blesser of mine, he was sleeping right next to the wall with his head just facing the direction where the bedroom window was. So for you to watch the TV properly, what you had to do is that you had to place your head in the direction where the bedroom door was. So that was the way that I was sleeping. When I was watching TV, I just fell asleep, and when I fell asleep, that was when I had a dream, and in that dream, I saw the door being opened, and after the bedroom door had been opened, I saw that woman that walked into the bedroom. This woman, I saw that her hands were covered in blood. As I kept on looking at her, I was feeling very terrified and scared, even though I could not move. Then I saw that she started removing her clothes. And when she removed her clothes, Brother Nashi, I saw something that still shocks me even up until today. Her stomach had been cut open, and there was a knife that was just hanging out of her stomach, and there was nothing in her body. It was like her intestines, her lungs, and each and every organ that can be found in the stomach area had been removed. After she had made sure that I had seen the way that she looked, she then wore her clothes and she started walking out of the bedroom. But as she was walking out of the bedroom, she kept on looking at me. So I screamed. I only managed to scream after that sleep paralysis that was holding me finally released me. When I screamed, to my surprise, I saw that my blesser, he was not in the bedroom anymore, not knowing where he had gone to. When he came back, he was naked and he was smelling herbs, and this was the way that he used to do it. He would walk around the house naked. Most of the times, I didn't even enjoy sleeping with him because he always smelled those strong herbs. Then he just said to me, "Why are you still awake? Are you not sleeping?" Then he went to bed, but throughout the night, I could not even fall asleep. I kept on thinking about that scary dreams, and I promised myself that I wanted to run away. This man, it seemed as if he knew everything that was on my mind, so he made sure that where I was, then he was. Then this other day, we were about to close the winter school. He then said that he wanted to spend a lot of time with me. When he said that he wanted to prepare something special for me, he then went out. This guy, Brother Nashi, he was driving a Nissan Navara. When he went out, he said that he wanted to buy something. Then I just waited for him. So when he had gone and I was left in the house, those guys from Zim, I just wished on that day that they were there, but I was all alone. That was when I just felt something telling me to get out of the bedroom very fast. And the moment that I got out of the bedroom, I saw that there was a snake. This snake, Brother Nashi, it just fell from the ceiling and it fell directly on the bed where I was sitting, because I was sitting on the edge of the bed asking myself, what should I do? Whom should I ask, should I tell my friends about everything that was happening in that blessed's house? That was when I stood up so that I can go and just chill outside. Then the snake just fell from the ceiling. It was not like the ceiling was broken or anything. The snake just mysteriously fell from the ceiling. And in those days, Brother Nashi, I still remember that I had a Motorola V360. So I had 2 or 3 music videos on that phone. I was just busy watching some music video when this thing happened. When that voice told me to get out of the bedroom, I listened to the voice. Then the snake fell from the ceiling. When I looked back, Brother Nashi, this snake, it was not a normal snake at all. The snake head, it was covered with eyes everywhere. There were just eyes all over that snake's head. I ran, Brother Nashi. When I was in the living room, I saw that there was a second snake, and the second snake that I saw in that man's living room, it was not even hiding from me. It was just there on top of the sofa. It had coiled itself as if it was just relaxing. And that snake, Brother Nashi, as I was passing through the living room, it didn't even bother to run away. It just looked at me. I then went outside and I called him and I told him that I had seen a snake, and he said that he was already on his way. So I suspect that this man, he was using these snakes for his business, because when he came, Brother Nashi, he then did some rituals. He was speaking in Venda and I could not understand him. Like most of the things that he was saying, he took a small bucket that was full of water. Then he started pouring the water all over the tomatoes and the oranges that were in the garage. He had a very big garage, so there was a portion in the garage where he used to keep the tomatoes and the oranges on the floor. Brother Nashi, after he had done everything, he then started sprinkling the water on his body and he wiped his face. He then just took a handful of that water and he wiped his face. He called me to the place where he was standing holding that bucket, and he said, take a handful of water and wipe your face. After I had done that, Brother Nashi, I then fell to the ground and I started sweating and I fainted, like my spirit was leaving my body. That was the kind of a feeling that I felt. So for 40 minutes or so, I do not even recall where I was. But when I woke up, my friends told me that the man that I was dating, he had came and he had just dumped me, and he didn't even know what to do with me. My friends then told me that my grandmother, who passed away when before I was born, she was the one who was speaking through me, and she was saying that you cannot do this. You cannot do this to my grandchild. I will not allow you to destroy her life, because she has a full life ahead of her. So maybe that was the only way that I got saved. It was like this man, he wanted to kill me or what, I do not even know. But I suspect that maybe the woman that I saw in my dream when I was sleeping in his house, maybe that blesser of mine that I was dating, he did something bad to that woman, because I do not even know the meaning of that dream. So at that time, when my friends had told me that someone had spoken who had said that it was my late grandmother, when I wanted to tell them everything that had happened, that was when I heard a voice, and it seemed that maybe it was the voice of my grandmother, even though I never had the chance to speak with her. The voice just said, remain quiet, do not say anything, Brother Nashi. So I never told my friends about this thing that happened to me. Now we are all grown up. Most of my friends, they got married. Some of them, they moved out of town. I also got married, and I have never told anyone but you this story. This is the first time that I am telling you this story. I suspect that maybe that man, he did something bad to that woman that I saw in my dream, because what is the meaning of me having a dream of a woman who then lifts up her skirt so that she can show me that there is nothing, she does not have any organs in the stomach area? Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our admins. Strange things do happen in this world.